Fuck it, we'll do it live. This is Ace.
This is Ivan. And this is no Decaf.
Tag team champions. Probably the greatest since Harlem Heat.
Since what?
Since Harlem Heat.
Fam, we are 90s babies. The Hardy Boys are much closer.
Listen.
Oh, my God.
Greatest tag team champion since Harlem Heat. Fuck the Hardy Boys.
Hardy Boys. Yo, those are my guys. I
I
can't
take
lie
that
to
back.
you.
Yeah. I'm talking crazy. It's too early to talk crazy.
Shout out
We
to all
record
the
these bad boys
fans.
early in the morning. It's not even 8 in the morning yet. It's delicious coffee. And
We got a lot of bullshit to talk about.
We're ready to conversate.
We are ready to conversate. Okay. How are you feeling, bro?
I'm as good as a person can be. How about you?
I've been off lately. Not lately, because I was fine last podcast, but I got like maybe 2 days feeling a little weird.
Why?
I don't know. It's just, and it kind of has a little bit to do with the first topic. And it's like every time something like this occurs, I feel, cause you know how I am. You've known me long enough. I'm really like in tuned emotionally. So it's like whenever things of sadness occur, like I just seem to feel it more than normal people do, because normal people are usually attached. They're they disattach or remove themselves from the situation so they don't have to feel that way, or just try to like keep on going. But I usually like attach myself to situations like this. And if our listeners don't know what we're talking about, not rest in peace, because he's not dead. Prayers and condolences, and just, I don't know, the best wishes possibly to Jacob Blake, who was shot 7 times. He, according to reports, because we don't know. According to what everybody's saying, he had a knife in the car. That's what they're spinning. I don't know, and I hardly believe. I don't believe that. I believe that if you're unaware of the incident, I'm sure he was the one who called for it was a domestic dispute report. Cops come. He is obviously not the one involved in the situation, so they're trying to apprehend him. And if I'm not mistaken, he's just walking away. This is the way the video looks. He is walking away. He's like, go inside, and the people that are inside, or whatever the case may be, there's a lot of yelling, a lot of talking, and a lot of people recording. He goes into the car, and a lot of people are saying he has a knife. Fam, you could have stopped him from getting into the car beforehand. There's so many things you could do other than shoot a man 7 times. 7 times, because I think that's the problem, and that's how I feel this way. So you shot the man 7 times. I want to know what is the process like. Are you shooting him 7 times to kill? Are you shooting him to wound and then apprehend? Like, what is it that allows you to believe, like, what gives you the right to believe that you are allowed to shoot a man 7 times just because you want to? Like, that's what bothers me. Like, I'm not, like, if he had a gun, if he was threatening somebody's life, if anything, there's a whole bunch of situations that you could, like, take into consideration where shooting him 7 times would at least be like, okay, that's a little excessive, but I get it. He was threatening your life. But he's giving you his back. And there's more than one of y'all. There is more than one police officer in that situation. Y'all can't knock him down? Y'all can't put him on the ground? Y'all can't apprehend somebody? Like, I don't know if it's laziness. Because I believe in my mind, just the way my psyche works, it's a lot easier to pull a trigger than it is to take a grown man down to the floor.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's where my mind goes. It has to be laziness. It has to be laziness. It has to be negligence. It has to be, and of course, the racial aspect of it.
There's also no accountability. They do these things, and there's hardly ever a strong enough consequence
That would be part of the
that makes them think twice, that stops them, that keeps them from You know what it is? Some cop, not all cops are bad. I'm not trying to shit on all cops. There's slimy ones out there, some really grimy people, but not all cops are bad. But we'll just talk about the rotten ones because that's what this conversation is about. Because everyone wants to tout and shout. No, because there's some good cops. Yes, we know. Shut up. That's not what this is about. This is literally about the bad cops, the cops that shoot 7 people in the back. Excuse me, that shoot a person in the back 7 times. Correct. That's what we're talking about. That's what this is about. Absolutely unnecessary. There's not one good reason. There's nothing they can come up with. There's nothing anybody can come up with.
Yeah.
How do you turn this around? How do you look a family in the face and say, "Hey, ma'am, sir, sister, brother, cousin,
you had 3 kids in the car.
We shot a member of your family 7 times while he was turned around. We shot him in the back 7 times
and paralyzed him from the waist down. Paralyzed from the waist down. So you basically took his ability to walk because he wasn't complying. And it's so sad because I don't believe that he deserved that. And here's where I'm going to start alienating people. There is a group of individuals out there who, when these types of things happen, love to bring up somebody's past. Yes, Jacob Blake had a criminal record. A criminal record does not, and I repeat, does not mean that you've committed a crime during the next thing. Like, it's not, you're not, I'm trying to find the proper words here without trying to offend somebody, but either way, I'm going to be offending somebody. It doesn't mean you're guilty again. And this is the problem. As much as, I won't say white people, because I think a bevy of people love to do this. Bring up the Constitution. It was made so there you have to be judged in the court of law. Yet you have police officers who play judge, jury, and executioner. Why is that? And why do we keep allowing it to? And let's not even get into homeboy who grabbed an AR, basically what they're calling a long gun on all social media, grabbed a long gun and killed 2 protesters because of said situation. We're not even going to talk about him, and he, according to the videos, walked right past police officers, and they did absolutely nothing to apprehend this kid until it got into social medias and it started trending, and then they had to do something. I don't get that. I don't get why allow that. You're allowing it to fuel the disgust, the hatred, the animosity,
they're widening the divide.
Like, it's not a good thing. It's not. So, according to where it comes down to, and I promise I didn't want to start on this. No, I didn't even think it was gonna take this long, and I was gonna have this much to say. But the way that it seems is like we're not allowed to even peacefully protest. I've seen so many people kneel in front of city halls. I've seen so many people kneel in front, and I'm like, how do these kneelings turn into riots? How do these kneelings turn into loots? I'm not privy. I don't have that much information to explain how a riot works. I'm not there, but I don't know what America wants for people to do. If they're peacefully protesting, it's a problem. If they're not peacefully protesting, it's a problem. You won't. Breonna Taylor's murderers are still out there. Nobody has done absolutely nothing about them. And by my pessimistic mindset, there's never going to be justice for that. You know what they're going to do? They're literally just going to stay quiet, not really do anything, just look. And it's on a continuous basis. And I've never understood why, because if anything, blacks or minorities in general have always been of service in America. We've always been serviceable in America. We've always been of service. In any industry, in any platform, in whatever you want to talk, like whatever. Anything. Hey, you had strawberries this morning. I would bet my bottom dollar that was picked by a minority. Hey, let's talk about war. Who likes to talk about war? Who loves talking about guns and the NRA and all of that? I'm pretty sure in the Marines, in the Navy, in whatever sect of our military, there's blacks, there's minorities. We've been fighting we've been fighting since the Civil War. We fought in America since the Civil War. And that's the part I don't get. So it's okay for us to be here. It's okay for us to be of service. It's okay for us, for everybody. And this is where I'm gonna leave it because I'm dragging way too long. I'm dragging this topic way too long. It's okay for us to literally live here, be of service, allow you guys to pillage, allow you guys to steal from us, allow you guys to, and when I mean by steal from us, I'm talking about the music industry and how just the way contracts work and just not giving people their masters and things of that nature. So it's okay for you guys to do everything negative towards us. But when we have something to fight for, we have something to protest, when we have a gripe, we're not even allowed to have the gripe either? We can't protest something that we see that's wrong? And shout out to all the white people who are on our side. Like, thank you. Thank you for noticing that there's something wrong and it's unfair. Shout out to Ben and Jerry's for as soon as Ben and Jerry's are the truth. As soon like what happened earlier with the George Floyd. I said Jordan Floyd. George Floyd, they did the protest. Ben and Jerry were right at the forefront and got arrested. Shout out to them. Like, and I'm going to finish with this. We need to come together to fix these problems. And it's going to transition right into my next topic. But let me go on. Do you have anything else to say?
Before we close it off, since we're here with our prayers, I want to also send out prayers. And just to anybody affected by Hurricane Laura, because just seeing the pictures of the aftermath is it's difficult as always. It's not an easy thing to do, and like you said, because of the sadness that you don't want inhabiting you kind of stop looking or look away or try not to think about it. But just prayers to anybody affected by Hurricane Laura, man.
Prayers to the families of Jacob Blake. Prayers to Jacob Blake himself. Prayers to anybody affected. Prayers to the two, because it was a white guy. I can't remember his name right now. His name was like Arthur or something like that. Can't really remember, but it was a white guy with a skateboard who tried to apprehend the kid with the long gun. He was a 17-year-old kid with the long gun, and he died trying to apprehend the guy. He had already shot and killed somebody, so he shot and killed 2 people, and then maimed some other people.
That kid shouldn't have had a gun, but I guess it's fine.
Every time we bring up no guns in America, the NRA is like, we need more guns, and we still haven't put blocks to make it so only specific individuals have guns. It's either everybody has guns or nobody has guns, and the problem is that the military ain't gonna give up guns. So,
to anybody listening out there, I invite you to do one thing. We're not know-it-alls here. Anything we say that sounds off, anything we say that sounds like it's just not fitting well into the storyline, I invite you to please fact check, read, do your own research. I always say that to people. Don't just go off of what other people are saying. Don't just join the fight. Don't just get wild. Don't just up in arms just because of what somebody else said or what you heard somebody else say. Do your research, read, investigate, come to your own conclusion. At No Decaf, we don't like what's happening. And sometimes maybe we say something that's wrong, or just the timeline is off, or maybe we get a name wrong. Please do your own research. Don't take everything we say here as law, because that's definitely not how it works. We're always willing to learn. Definitely correct us.
Definitely. Also, if you feel like you need to talk about something, get in the comment section. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. I'm happy to have this conversation and educate anybody on why exactly. Well, the fact that I have to educate somebody on why exactly it's not cool, it's unfair, it's actually criminal to shoot and or kill an unarmed individual. It seems, it almost seems like stupid that I would have to have that conversation with somebody when it's clearly in the details. You're shooting and killing unarmed individuals. Breonna Taylor was sleeping on her bed and got up because the police got the house wrong. George Floyd was on the floor for 7 or 8 minutes with 3 cops on top of him. Well, one of them was on top of his neck, but that's the point. It keeps on happening, and again, the people who are dying pose absolutely no threat to the cops that are causing these crimes.
To the multiple, because it's not just one. Maybe if it was like one person, but it's usually 2 or 3. You see these videos, and it's usually 2 or 3 cops.
That's
Everett
that's the part I
Gardner.
don't get.
How many cops were surrounding Everett Gardner?
Choked out in front of a store because he was selling cigarettes.
I know that's a bit of a depressing start for today's episode, but sometimes there's things you just have to get off your chest, and what's not right is not right.
At all.
And you know when you're looking at it, and you know when you're listening to the story, something's not right. Something has to change.
That transitions to our next topic,
Which is something that makes me a bit happy in all of this murkiness.
definitely.
I love what the Milwaukee Bucks did. I love the initiative of it. I love what it sparked.
It was in Wisconsin, after all. So yeah, they were the team that had to do it. So if you don't know, if you've been living under a rock, Milwaukee Bucks have boycotted Game 5 against the Magic, causing a ripple effect where multiple NBA games were boycotted as well, and then causing an even bigger ripple effect towards all the other sports. So the NBA basically boycotted the next game. There was no games on Tuesday, no games on Thursday. And NHL proceeded, NFL proceeded, NFL canceled all practices. And I gotta be honest about this. I'm not saying that this isn't a bad thing. I'm not saying that this is great. This is a great thing. Athletes joining in arms. Kenny Smith walked right off of the TNT set, stood with the players. Shout out to Kenny Smith.
He understands.
Also,
he feels it. He feels the pain. He knows. And that's what I'm talking about. Soccer games boycotted. A tennis player didn't play. Baseball games boycotted. I think there was a hockey team.
Yeah, that's what the NHL. Yes, correct. It
Unity,
was a hockey
man.
player who said it.
Unity, because that's something that we can grab from this. It always feels good to say, hey, that person over there, that group over there, they get it. They understand. They're with us. They're with me. They're part of the fight. That always feels good. Unity has always made me feel good. When we're standing together for the right thing, for the right reasons, we can do more. I'm not saying that boycotting a basketball game is going to change anything. I'm just saying it has to count as the right step in the right direction. Because it's definitely not the first step in the right direction. People have been boycotting. People have been protesting. But I believe it's a right step in the right direction.
The more boycotts happen, the more protests happen, the more. Because I don't know if people have noticed, but the economy is not in the best place it should be. The more you affect these dollars, and the more it will affect change. Because I think that's always been the problem. There's always been problems, but you've never affected directly the money of the people who could actually create change. Because change doesn't come by the way of the minority. Change doesn't come from the way of the poor. Change doesn't come from them. As poor, as middle class, as people, let's say insignificant people. You know what I mean? Not everybody's insignificant, but people, we just lack that type of power. We just do. Change has to come through the people that are actually willing to change. And the only way people that have the power to cause change, to create change, are affected by it is when you're affecting their wallets. That's just the way it is. Sadly,
it's the way it's always been.
But that's the
been.
way it is. So if we are going to create change, the people in places of power have to be affected in a negative way, or else they're not incentivized to create some change. They're not incentivized to give proper training to police officers. They're not incentivized to actually create a system where people could actually vote. They're not incentivized to not basically allow themselves for voter suppression. They're not incentivized to do a lot of the things that seem like common sense. Which is my problem, and now I'm getting loud, and now this is the BS part, and people are like, oh, he's angry. And I'm not angry. I'm not. I feel like there's a lot of bullshit that goes on.
It's frustrating.
And I think it's purely common sense. It doesn't take a genius to know that people are fighting for their lives every time a police officer walks by. Like, they're fearful for their lives every time they see a red, white, and blue lights coming up. It's almost like having a very minor anxiety attack every time you see a cop.
Which is not right.
Which is like, again, the point was to make it so we feel protected around you. And now we just fear you. We fear what your next actions are going to be. We fear that you're going to look at somebody of tan or darker complexion and lose your shit because you believe that they're guilty for something that hasn't even been proved yet or committed. That was never the mission. That was never the thought process. That was never supposed to happen that way. It was always supposed to be protect and serve. Always. And now we're at this point on where we believe that we need to defund the police.
For the job they're doing, we might as well protect and serve each other, because that's what we've been doing.
I mentioned this to you, I think it was a week ago. I was like, there used to be Black Panthers used to police their own communities.
Yeah.
And I was like, does that need to happen? Because obviously police officers of lighter complexion and sometimes of even darker complexion, even black police officers, they're not privy to their communities. They don't understand how some people move. They don't know the areas that they work. They don't know the people in the areas that they work, so they can understand how they react. They don't understand how somebody, when you tell somebody, hey, stop right there, freeze, their initial instinct might be to run because there's a gun, instead of saying, let me stop because somebody's telling me to stop. And even if and the crazy part is, even if they stop and allow you to apprehend them, they still might die. That's the crazy part. Hey, I am complying with everything you're telling me to do. You need my wallet, here's my wallet. I'm still getting taken down to the floor for complying with everything? You ask for, hey, what is it that they say? Hey, we are investigating a suspicious activity. Where are you? Who are you from? Where's your wallet? Give me your ID, your license, your registration. Okay, here's everything. Why am I getting taken down to the floor? Why am I being put in handcuffs? I haven't done absolutely anything. Why? So this is why.
I'm one. Why is there four of you? I'm one. Why are your guns out? I am in handcuffs. Why are you on my back and into my neck? You're in my neck at this point. So it's so many questions. It's so many questions of how these situations keep getting handled. Back to what you were saying. Let's bring it back a little bit. When you affect the dollars,
It
that
affects-
might be the way to get change.
Correct.
That might be the way to get into these people's heads. When you get into their pockets, you go through their pockets first, and that there's something connecting their brains to their pockets.
Sadly. But yeah.
That's just how it is. It's how it's always been. Back in the day, hundreds of years ago, after slavery, when there were sharecroppers, when the sharecroppers said, "Hey, this is some bullshit. How we're being treated is still bullshit," and they started moving up north. Guess what? I don't want to call them slave owners, even though that's basically what they still were. But the masters of the field, whatever you want to call them, the heads of those households with those fields, when they went out in the morning and saw those fields full of cotton and nobody to pick them, guess what they were doing? They were getting real nice, and they would lower their voices, and they would go and send people north, or sometimes they would go north themselves to try to bring back what they lost. Why? Because they were losing money. Because there was nobody to pick the cotton, there was nobody to pick the fruit, there was nobody to work the fields. When you go through their pockets, you get to their heads. It's just how it's always been.
This is super disheartening. 'Cause like I said, I'm in tuned emotionally to certain events, and I believe that's the wrong way to go about things, but I do believe that is the only way to go about things. Affect the pockets, affect change, and
literally
make a better
nothing
future
else has worked.
Yeah, make a
Nothing
better
else
future
has
for.
worked.
Because at the end of the day, that's all it is. Like, we're making a better future every time we protest. Every time we go on these rants, that is like 30 minutes in. Every time we do this, we're just trying to illuminate and trying to create a better future for the children, for the minority children, for the black kids, for the Spanish kids, for the Asian kids, for any type of minority. You could even be white and still be part of the minority, because there was Jewish people in the Black Panthers, just to give you guys a little bit of information, just so you guys are aware of this. And Jewish people are of lighter complexion. But I say this to say, good job, NBA. Good job, all of you who are. I was gonna say this, and this is kind of like on topic, but I think I should save this for another time. But I'll just leave this here. There's a bunch of you who are doing this only because it's trendy, and it's nasty, because you don't really feel this way, but you feel obligated to do it because the NBA, which has primed itself to be the America's pastime, to be the number one sport in probably the next 10 to 25 years, you're doing it just to save face. And it looks disgusting, because I can tell when, and I won't say particular, but when somebody has to come out and say, "Hey, you're handling this wrong," and all of a sudden you change your tune, it's not organic. I'm forcing your hand. So obviously you don't feel this way naturally. You feel this way because you have to feel this way. And that right there is disgusting. It's nasty. It shows insensitivity. It shows that you're not privy. It shows that there's a bunch of people working in these industries, in these particular parts, who are out of touch, who don't care. And that's gross. And I'll leave that there.
Before we keep going, I just want to shout out Chris Webber. I'm not gonna say everything he said verbatim, but basically, we can't stop. We need to keep doing this. We need to keep trying. This isn't for us. This is for the next generation. Doesn't matter what color skin you are. I'm assuming everybody wants their kids to grow up with a bright future and in a safe environment.
Correct.
And just one last thing. I promise the last thing. Just because I honestly feel like somebody out there needs to hear this. It does not matter. I repeat, it does not matter the color of your skin. Nobody. Doesn't matter where they come from. Doesn't matter who they tell you they are or who they preach about being. Nobody is better than anybody. Nobody is better than anybody. All created equal, right? So they always say. Even though it doesn't feel like that, I can guarantee you that it's absolutely true. Even if you don't get treated like that, I can guarantee you it's absolutely true. Moving on.
Shout out to us. Shout out to us.
It gets tiring.
It does get
It
tiring.
gets tiring, but
It's
you
tiring.
you can't stop.
Yeah, you have to make sure it is allowed. It's actually brought up to the forefront because that is the most important lesson. But let's move on, and this is a total 360 basically. Let's go on to some
brighter news.
Some brighter
topics.
On last podcast we had talked about best album of the year so far, and we basically had to like really go back and brainstorm and see everybody who dropped, and a lot of you did drop.
A lot of you did.
Which
is what I'm saying. For the year it's been,
it's actually like
2020 is a hectic year. 2020
is a crazy year, but it also it hasn't affected certain industries.
Yeah,
and music being one of them. Where every rapper and his mama has dropped. Drake dropped. Royce the 5'9" dropped. Gunna dropped. Lil Baby dropped. Like everybody who's anybody has already dropped this year.
Pop Smoke, rest in peace.
Pop Smoke dropped. Rest in peace as well.
Did you make a choice? Did you come to a final?
I have my pick. Do you have your pick?
Yeah. But I didn't change. It was the same from last episode.
Same, you agree with your.
I have to stick to Uzi. And if I had to have somebody like really close runner up, and it once again rest in peace. It's just he passed. He left us. He's no longer with us. Pop Smoke, man. I really enjoyed Pop Smoke's album.
I enjoyed Pop Smoke's album too. That Woo record with Roddy Ricch and 50 Cent. That's my shit.
What did you pick?
What
did you pick?
The Allegory. The Allegory.
Royce.
I swear to God, I'm a backpack rapper. I'm a backpacker.
Look at Twitter being a hoe. Look at Twitter recommending me things that Lori Harvey put up. Twitter is nasty.
Lori Harvey put up.
I mean, it's not like I'm busy thinking about women. I'm a student athlete, so I can't.
Oh yeah, I feel you. But Twitter,
this shit's disgusting.
Lord have mercy. But back to what we were talking about.
Any runner-ups for you though, besides Royce?
Nas would be the next one.
You really enjoyed this Nas album.
I really do like it, but I like content. Remember, like it's just you gotta say something.
I'm with you. Which is why, believe it or not, it surprised me that my choice was Uzi. I mean, you know me.
Uzi. Yeah, but Uzi makes a lot of great records.
But it's just
Uzi would be like 5
songs on there.
Uzi would be like top 5.
There was really good songs on there.
I enjoyed a lot of albums. Like I really did. Joiners would also be in the top 5 so far for me. As of today, by the way, you guys, The Lox, again, more of my backpackerness. The Lox. If you don't know who The Lox is, you guys are
under a rock.
Under a rock would probably be the best.
Well, let me not say that because a lot of the new kids are different, man.
Yeah. Well,
I love y'all, but I'm just gonna be honest. I don't really fuck with y'all like that. The new kids are different.
The Lox
different.
They dropped their album, Living Off Experience, and I haven't really given it a listen yet. So we're gonna leave that for next week. But
off the little snippet,
snippet that we heard,
it sounds good.
It sounds really good. Sounds really good.
Jaden Smith dropped too.
Yeah, I need to listen to
and also a little bit. I kind of, what the thing I do where I kind of go each song one by one for like 15, 20 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like it's not gonna disappoint.
I like Jaden.
So I'm kind of excited. Underrated?
Jaden Smith?
Yeah.
The problem is with Jaden Smith, I would say yes. Yes, he's underrated.
I want to say yes too.
I say the fact that Will is his dad is what makes him underrated. Because nobody looks at him like an individual.
I'm with you, but hear me out.
Go.
He's underrated. I 100% believe he's underrated. I think he's super talented.
Correct.
I think what doesn't mesh here, I think what's not meshing is his personality and talent. They just don't mesh. I feel like to be a superstar, if he had Will Smith's personality, if he was just like his dad, he might be more, I don't want to use the word popping. He might be more just out there. I feel like he has one of those like weird sheltered kids. By the way, I don't know Jaden Smith. Never spoken to Jaden Smith. All I know about Jaden Smith is that he usually makes great music and that he's Will Smith's son. That's pretty much where it ends.
Whoever Jaden Smith's producer is really good.
Back to what I was saying. There's something in his personality that just doesn't mesh with the amount of talent that he has.
I can kind of see what you're saying right now.
I 100% feel like he might be happy-go-lucky and cool and funny maybe with his family, but when he's outside, he doesn't seem like that.
He dropped 17 tracks. Holy crap.
Yeah.
No, and
so yeah, I think he's underrated. I think people don't really look for him as much as they should. I'm not saying people don't. People do look for him, just maybe not as much as they should. But I do think he's super talented and underrated.
See, I would agree with you to a certain degree there. Cause I do feel like that it does sometimes, but I feel like sometimes also like he's done a little bit of the acting part. We've seen him act a little bit. We've seen him be a little funny. He has memes, like he has legendary memes.
It's not that good.
No, I'm not saying it's. I'm not saying that it's amazing acting, but he's done his personality. I think he has a cool personality, but I also think that the whole it's Will's son thing gets in the way a lot.
Kind of like YouTube for YouTubers. Oh, he's just a YouTuber. When they try to like branch
kind of like that. There's always like when it's somebody's kid, there's always like a weird little like stigma that goes along with being somebody like. And keep in mind, Will Smith is a creative genius. Like Will Smith is just in terms of personality, in terms of creativity, in terms of just like he went from zero to like being amazing. Like
me and you agree on a lot of things, and a lot of our lists complement each other really well. So that's why sometimes we even just have one list that works for both of us. Mm-hmm. Do you think Will Smith is on our list of idols?
Yes.
And you know what I mean when I say, you know how me and you feel about certain. For example, how me and you feel about Hove.
Yeah.
So he goes on that list because I love Will Smith. I just want to be sure
Will
that
Smith might be higher in the list than Hove.
No, you're bugging. Okay,
that's what? Oh, come on, yo.
No.
Fam, you're not
more versatile. Give it to you.
No.
You're not
understanding. You're not understanding.
Absolutely,
you're not understanding. I'm on the list of idols of people that me and you idolize. He might be higher than Hove.
Well, this is where our list is gonna have to see. You just make me take back everything I said. Our list is gonna have to turn into two separate lists now because there's nobody I idolize more than Hove except one man. Ooh. There's one man, and I don't even idolize him more. He's just literally tied with Hove, and that's Denzel. That's literally it.
How are you idolizing? Okay, maybe I'm misinterpreting your idolization of like the way you're idolizing.
Literally men that I would fan out. You know me. I usually have a stern face. People, well, you know me. I'm not with too much with the hey, let's have a. No, I'm just hey, what's up? Nice to meet you. That's me.
I would fan out.
But I would fan out.
You fanning out would be.
I'd fan the fuck out for Denzel and for Hove. Absolutely.
I think Will Smith is higher on my list. Well, again, I idolize Hove. I don't think I idolize Denzel. But I idolize Hove. I definitely idolize Hove. But Hove would be in two separate aspects. I idolize Hove for music talent. Like music, for just music and business acumen. Well, it'd be three things. It'd be music, business acumen, and then family, like privacy, like in terms of just how he conducts his household.
And you know how I feel about that.
Those would be my three things to idolize Hove. I idolize Will from a purely creative perspective.
I just feel like you can't be how me and you are and how much we love music and how much we love hip hop and not idolize Hove.
I did say I idolize him.
No, but you're putting somebody else over him.
Oh yeah,
and
but
it's kind of getting under my skin.
He's not
you know
number
what?
one.
Give me your New York card.
No, get the hell out of here. Get out of here. I'm Philly.
Oh, exactly.
No, exactly. Get out of here.
Give me the card.
Get
the fuck out of here.
You're not even from Brooklyn. You were born in Manhattan. The fuck out of here, you.
Fuck out of here, you. Fuck out of here, you.
Yo, I'm tired of you. I think I idolize Will, but you know what? From a creative perspective more than I idolize Hove. But that's just
Will, but I don't know.
Just think about this. We've had Will be, and we're not even into summertime.
I know everything you're about to say about Will Smith because I agree with you. He's so good in almost everything he does. He can literally just sit here and crack jokes, and you will look at him like this guy's amazing. He can act, and you'll sit here and look at him like this man is amazing. He can rap, and you'll sit here like, whoa, for his age and how he used to rap back in the day, this man is actually still kind of amazing. Because when he hopped on with Joyner, I was like, oh, okay, Will, I see you.
Definitely.
To be honest, even if he sucked, I would probably still say he's the man. I just love Will Smith that much, but I don't love him more than Hove.
I think I think I have him a little higher than Hove in terms of idolization. But it's only
Yeah, you're
because
definitely getting your car revoked. I'm not fucking no more.
But
This
it's
is the last
only
episode of No Decaf that we'll be shooting.
it is only from a creative perspective that I love Will. Like I love.
I feel like you just can't take that into consideration. It's
Well, I deem creativity over business acumen. It's just that simple.
for anybody else. Yes, rules don't like that
Yo,
don't apply to Hove when you're from New York and when you
fam.
love rap the way you love rap, the way I love rap. Certain rules kind of gotta be.
Nah, I don't know. I'm a rebel by heart. I don't
Then-
have to do anything.
Agree to disagree. You like Will, you love Hove, but I love Hove more.
I love Hove.
And
But you've
you see,
always loved Hove more.
But you know what? And even in saying that, I'm gonna take back the statement I made earlier. I don't think I love Denzel as much as I love Hove. Now that I think about it, Denzel takes a smooth, a cool second place. With Will.
I don't even know
have
why
them
you
both
like
in second place.
Oh no. Denzel's not. I don't think Denzel makes the list.
He makes my list. I mean, come on, you know my favorite movie. Like, come on.
Yeah, I know.
I'm a movie buff. The only thing I love more than music is movies.
Jesus Christ. Every time I look at you, it's just.
This shit's disgusting.
If you use that drop on me one more time.
Oh my God. Alrighty. So we've talked about Jaden being underrated. We've talked about Will Smith being idolized by us. We've talked about
how much you love this Nas album.
We've talked about how much this love this out. But again, Allegory is my album of choice.
And you see yourself listening to these albums well into the future?
Yes. Yo, that Anderson .Paak track with Nas. Oh, Jesus Christ. This is gonna sound weird. That song does things to me.
See, there you use the drop.
Okay,
that's where you use the drop.
All right, fine. I put it on myself.
This shit's disgusting.
Oh man. But yeah, yo, it's
Cameron gonna whoop our ass.
Cameron's the. Oh man, yo, it's Jesus Christ. Alrighty.
So you see yourself listening to the Allegory and to King's Disease years from now?
Yes.
I think more so. I think King's Disease definitely, but the Allegory as good as it was.
The Allegory has King.
There's
What's
so
it
much
called?
music now. It's hard.
Allegory has a couple of songs there that I will just forever.
But I don't necessarily
forever.
mean keeping the song in your phone, keeping the
Black
song
Sabbath is my
nearby.
niche.
Let's say, for example, the way we go back to Juicy.
Mhm.
You know how sometimes we're in the car and we just say, "Put Juicy on." We love that song. It's an old song, but we love that song.
Correct.
You see yourself listening to anything on these albums like
Well,
that.
if
in
I
the future?
download them, then that's the way I feel about them, and that's if it.
Well, no, because like I said before, I download them if I really like them. But then there comes a point where it's like, okay, there's too much shit on my phone.
no, that's why I get the. I'm not a brokey. I get the big hard drive on my phone.
This is definitely the last episode that I'm filming with this man.
Them's just fighting words. We ain't gonna do nothing.
Did I say filming? I meant recording. So by memory, just off the top of the head, what's the oldest song in your phone?
The oldest song on my phone?
Yeah, like year, release date, like oldest song on your phone.
Oh, it probably wouldn't even be hip hop.
Okay, fine. The oldest hip hop song on your phone, the oldest rap song on your phone.
The oldest rap song in my phone, it might be "Respect the Technique" by Rakim and Eric B. Eric B. and Rakim. Apologies.
I think the oldest song on my phone might be Today Was a Good Day. Ice
Really?
Cube. That might be the oldest song on my phone. Yeah.
You don't have anything older than that?
No, I don't think so.
I think I have
Unless I'm
first
the year-
album. First
There's
two albums.
songs that are like around there, like, but I just don't know. I can't say off the top of the head because I don't know if certain songs might be a bit older, but I believe that's the oldest song I have.
I think I have the message in my phone too. Don't push me cause I'm close to the edge. I'm trying not to lose my head. Ha 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 ha.
If I didn't tell you guys before, this is the last time I'm recording with this man.
Yeah, stop looking at me strange, fam. Okay, fine. I'll play it for myself.
This shit's disgusting.
Gonna get tired of that drop.
No, that drop is never gonna be tiring. That's a great drop.
So yeah, that's the oldest one you have.
Respect the Technique. I don't have the message on my phone, but I do have Respect the
Now
Technique.
look at me in me naming an LA song basically.
Yeah,
Should
you
I get my car
definitely, yeah.
revoked?
You a nasty dude.
That's a great song.
No, definitely.
That one and No Vaseline.
No Vaseline is wild. Oh my god!
I'm trying
yo.
to think, but yeah, I think that's it. That's the oldest song. That might
That's
be
the oldest song on your phone.
Yeah.
Yo, you need to.
And you know me, I love old hip hop. I love old school songs.
You obviously don't.
Come, really? That's an old song.
Okay,
Yeah,
so after further research, all these songs are from '92.
yeah. So
Respect the Technique,
Over
92. Cream was 93. Today Was a Good Day, 92.
so yeah, so we're tied for the oldest.
How about that for sure? Respect the Technique was
Older,
older.
92.
But I do have his first album, which might be older than that. That has songs like what's it called? God damn it, I always forget. It's I can't. I'm drawing a blank. Whatever. We'll talk about more. I'll probably remember it while in the conversation. Here's a quick question for you, my good sir. And now we're moving on to the entertainment side of the podcast. Here's a quick question for you. Is the MCU overrated?
No. Top of the dome.
I asked this because I had a quick, I wouldn't call it an epiphany, but it was more like a realization.
Had one of those moments of clarity.
Yeah. Where, because I was talking to Shorty, and Shorty, she was like, oh, I haven't watched any of the Marvel movies. And I being a huge Marvel head, like, there's few things that I love more than just hip hop, video games, like comic books. Like that's my bag, and it's a fairly strong bag. Like if anything, I have Birkin bags of those.
I'm impressed. You see why I call you my son? You see? Because you shine like one.
Oh my god!
And you know the rule: if it rhymes, it's true.
If it rhymes, yeah, definitely. Where was I? But yeah, so she says, "Hey, I haven't seen any of those movies, and the ones that I have seen, they're just all right movies, and the ones that she mentioned were like Iron Man #1, which I thought was great. Had a lot of great, like it just has a lot of replayability to it, just in my eyes. You could rewatch that multiple times and still be entertained. She said like it's almost all the Phase 1 movies. So like the first Thor, which I thought again pretty good. Just a lot. So I was like wondering, I was like maybe like for a comic head like I am, those movies are great and it resembles a moment in history. Because I don't think even in Phase 4, what they're doing now, I don't think they'll ever be able to recreate the hype that was all the Avengers films, Thanos.
No, but I think you're selling them short. It wasn't just the hype. They executed it brilliantly.
Oh yeah, of course. Too. So of course,
just
and
the
then the movies were good.
That's what I'm saying. The culmination of everything, it was just on point.
We're talking about how many movies? We have 3 Iron Men. We have 3 Thors. We have 3 Captain Americas. We have a Black Panther.
A whole bunch of Avengers movies, like 3 or 4.
Yeah, but those would be the last ones. But before the Avengers, before the Avengers trilogy or quadrilogy, I don't know how you would say that. The 4 Avengers films. Before those 4 Avengers films, we had around maybe 12?
Something like that.
Yeah, there was no Black Widow until now Phase 4. There was no Hawkeye movie. There's a Hulk movie. No, there's no Hulk movie. There's no Hulk movie. There were previous Hulk movies, but
not with what's his name? Not with Mark Ruffalo.
Yeah, not with Mark Ruffalo. There was no type of movies. So what is that? So we have Black Panther. What else? What are the single shots that were in part of Phase 3?
I'm trying to think. Oh, Ant-Man.
We had Ant-Man. We had 2 Ant-Man.
Yeah.
We had 2 Ant-Man. We had Guardians of the Galaxy. 2 of them.
So we might have had something like 12, 14, 15.
Yeah, something along those lines. Yeah. So we had those, and then on top of that, we had the 4 that are
the Avengers.
The
last of which split into 2.
Yes. And yeah, I'm not rolling. I think the execution that you brought up, I think that not only that, I think just the way that each movie has it's actually rewatchable. I said replayable earlier. They're rewatchable. You can watch Black Panther again and still be highly entertained of just the way that, from a cinematic perspective, it's a good movie.
Yeah, it is.
It's a good movie. I always go back because I love the scene where Daniel, I always forget his name is Daniel something, and his last name I always forget him, but he's the guy from Get Out, and he goes, and you know how I'm a sappy ass dude. He goes, would you kill me, my love? And I was also another person. She's basically the girl from Walking Dead. She's Michonne from Walking Dead. I forget her name as an actress, but she goes, for Wakanda, I wouldn't. She's pointing at him, and he's just like kind of like, all right, cool. I always look back at that scene. I look back at the scene where Killmonger throws Homeboy off the.
He's a great actor,
spoiling.
by the way. He's a great actor.
Yeah, no, I think again, the best.
Hold on, I gotta open a bit of a parenthesis. Have you seen Queen and Slim?
No, I have not seen Queen and Slim.
Go. Like when we're done with this, go watch.
Where
it.
is it on?
It's on HBO Max.
It's on HBO Max. Okay, Queen and Slim. That's
really good. He's really good.
I've heard great things of his other movies. They have the new movie coming out where he plays the Black Panther leader.
Yeah.
I only watched the trailer one time. I can't remember. I'm drawing a blank right now. But he's great, and I think that's where Marvel and DC differ. Marvel has great casting. Just in general, just everywhere you see, it's almost picture perfect casting. It's really hard to be like, I would have picked somebody else for that character. Even the ones that you don't really know that well. We had a Doctor Strange movie. Who would have thought Benedict Cumberbatch as Doctor Strange?
Yeah,
Marvel, Disney did.
Yeah, because I would have never.
Disney did. They a homeboy who plays Winter Soldier. Great dude. I don't even know that dude like that. But fits. It fits. And that's the thing. So again, the original question was, is the MCU overrated? I would say no.
I would say no. Absolutely not.
Ace says no.
When you can rewatch those movies, it's so impressive. When you give something that much time, you're also giving it so many chances to go wrong.
Oh yeah, definitely.
So many chances for anything to go wrong.
Even the Captain Marvel movie.
Think about the years. When did this start? 2008 is when this whole thing started.
Something like that. Yeah.
Look at where we are now. I mean, yeah, granted, the big finale, even though it's not done, was really Endgame.
Mm-hmm.
But wow.
Yeah, no, it was excellent.
I don't think it's overrated at all. In fact, there's people that I know that aren't into hero movies that they pass. They're like, oh, that's a hero movie. No, I'll pass. Thank you. But I say, hey, just at least watch Infinity War and Endgame. Just at least those two. And I promise you, it will. What's what I'm looking for? It'll entice you to go through the whole thing, starting with Iron Man. The whole thing.
Definitely.
I think if you were to take that on, that challenge, I think that would take you like 4 or 5 days to watch everything.
Probably.
So I'm not a big video game player, but I wanted to ask how you felt about this because seeing as how everybody says the movies were ass. How did you know what I was gonna say?
Because
always on the same page, living on minimum wage.
What?
The rhymes is true. Anyways, Netflix, Resident Evil. How are we feeling about this?
They're gonna kill it.
You think they're gonna do a good job?
I
Well, at
think
least I want to say, hold on. You hope. At least
So we got to do this thing in society and in culture and in wherever, where until somebody messes up, we really have to give them the benefit of the doubt on a positive note.
I agree.
Like, cause so you aren't a big video game guy.
Before we keep going, to be fair, if somebody would just come into this assuming that was gonna suck, it's because the movies were garbage.
But so that's true. But I can also look at the movies and say, hey, that was just a random team or a random director or the random production or whoever had the licensing to Resident Evil. They were just creating films that had nothing to do with the video games. This is going to be different. Reason being is because, number one, the people at Netflix know exactly what they're doing when it comes to treating video games and or anime IP.
You're telling me this after about a week ago we were talking about how the original writers of Avatar walked out because they didn't want to respect the source material. So what are we saying here?
There's a difference between that and this. according to what? Okay, so well, this is great. I'm glad you brought that up. So we'll kill two birds with one stone right here. The original beef with that. This is a rumor. I don't know. Don't quote me on this. When I will, like this is just what I've heard.
Stop being fucking lazy and go do your own fucking research. All right, keep going.
The original beef between the writers of Avatar, which we love. We love Avatar. The movie too. The movie is really good. Not the M. Night Shyamalan one, the Disney Blue people Avatar one. That one's really good. We're talking about Avatar: The Last Airbender. So they were making a live remake show, a live interaction, adaptation. Thank you. A live adaptation of Avatar: The Last Airbender. The original writers of the series were working on it. They leave due to creative differences. The reason that I personally have heard, because I got my sources.
You got your ear to the ground.
I ain't got my ear to nothing. I read this in a post somewhere. The reason that in which I read was that they wanted to hire white actors to play certain roles. I imagine that Avatar: The Last Airbender, which is based on a certain culture, based on what looks to be Japanese and or Asian centric, because there's a lot of karate, there's a lot of martial arts, there's sword fighting, there's a lot of things in Avatar: The Last Airbender that would lean towards Eastern influences. So the simple fact that you're trying to hire white actors to play Asian roles would rub somebody the wrong way. This is different. This is different because and what I mean by different, this is different. I deem Netflix to be really smart when it comes to anime and IP, besides the point of the Avatar one. I understand what they're saying with the Avatar, or what everybody's saying. Oh, okay, now that the new adaptation is going to be bad. We don't know that yet. Let's hope that they get it right. I wouldn't want to have like white people play Asian, have Asian roles, but I digress. I'll still watch it because I just love Avatar: The Last Airbender that much. But it's not, because the difference is we've seen Netflix do great with video game IPs before. You are a living embodiment of that, Ace. You love Castlevania, the show, not the video game, the show.
Yeah, and I'm once again not a video game player.
Castlevania is Capcom. Capcom? Yes, Capcom. I digress. I don't think it's Capcom at all. I think it's Konami. I don't know. Castlevania, I'm pretty sure it's something in my head is telling me that it's Konami, not Capcom. But I would have to check it. I would have to check out and confirm. If I am wrong, I am wrong. It is all good. But that was the first video game IP that they had. And they have done nothing but be successful with, I always say with, everybody's going to be like, oh, I can barely talk. They have been nothing but successful with said IP. So we have that. They're doing Dragon's Dogma, which I can for surely say is Capcom, and that's coming out this year. If Dragon's Dogma is weird, I get it. We could then criticize the next Resident Evil. But if they hit it out the park again, then I have full faith in just basically everything that they're doing over there. And yes, it's Konami. It's not Capcom. I apologize. Castlevania is Konami's, which is a Japanese developer, along with Capcom, which is a Japanese developer. So I imagine that Capcom looked at how they treated Castlevania, which is a Konami property, and said, hey, we have a bunch of shows. Capcom, if you guys aren't aware, Capcom made Street Fighter. Capcom obviously made Resident Evil. Capcom made Dragon's Dogma. And so on and so forth. We could keep on going. Capcom has a lot of video game IPs that if Resident Evil does really well, we're going to see a new Street Fighter show. We're going to see probably a new Devil May Cry.
That would be pretty cool.
An actual Devil May Cry show. brought back up, we're going to see a lot of more video game IPs becoming shows. And that's a whole entire list by itself. Shows that should be video games and video games that should be shows. I have both of those lists in the top.
That's a deep bag. I mean, just you, not even me. You could talk about that for hours.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. There's just a lot of, and I wish it would be more like that. Because usually this is the thing. And now I'm just, I'm extending this, but there's a lot of content that is lost because I believe video game developers and video game creators like to create off of scratch instead of being inspired by certain things. So obviously we could talk about video games that have gained massive acclaim. For example, God of War. God of War is based off of Greek and Norse mythology. That is inspired by things that are really already popping, that have already clout, that have a certain cult following. Like you guys know what I'm saying. It has already a reputation. But there's so many books, there's so many comic books, there's so many other mediums that should be able to influence video games and video game creation, but they don't.
Because people want to start from scratch.
Because people want to start from scratch.
You have two very appealing things when you start from scratch. Number one, if you create something, that is yours. You don't have to ask permission.
Of course.
You don't have to get you don't have to consult
pure
with
ownership.
anybody. Number two, with that pure ownership comes what? All the money is yours. There's no
Of course
sharing.
as well.
There's no have to get a license. There's no, once again, permission because these people own. There's just so much freedom that comes along with starting from scratch. And everybody wants, how good would it feel? What's going to feel good? Let's say you make a great show. Let's say you come up with a great show. You have two shows. You have one that you got because you were influenced by somebody else's material and you turn that into a show for, let's say, Netflix. Or then you have, a year later, you do one that you completely came up with. It's going to feel better to get praise and rewards and accolades for your show than the one that came from somebody else's material. It feels better you to say, that's mine, I came up with that.
That's 100% correct. Here's my issue with that. And this is going to be my issue with the video game industry almost always. Every time there is a license to be had, there either two things happen. The video game goes down by the wayside. It doesn't really do a thing. If anybody doesn't know what I'm talking about, Mad Max is one of the greatest movie franchises of all time. And if I'm not mistaken, before that was a book.
It's one of my favorites.
Mad Max was recreated into an excellent video game. You know what they did? They put it right in between two of the greatest games of all time in terms of release date. Yeah. And what happened? People forgot about it. People forget that Mad Max was an excellent video game.
I think not a lot of people even played that.
No. It was on the PlayStation Store for free because nobody played it. Nobody bought it. So when you don't treat IPs with the amount of respect that it deserves. So that would be the second point. You have somebody like the developers who made Mad Max did a great job, and then all of a sudden it goes nowhere because you guys had the wrong release date. Everything has to be perfect when it comes to releasing video games. Everything has to be perfect. It's just like releasing music. When you drop with Drake, that is a terrible thing to do. It's the same thing when you're releasing anything. When somebody who's not as big as Drake is dropping with Drake, get ready because everybody's going to be listening to Drake and not listening to your shit. That's usually the way it works. Now, sometimes, obviously, you'll have some outliers because you have people that are popping enough to actually have you listen to both. You'll be like, listen to Drake and I'm going to listen to you. But it's the same thing with video games as well.
Usually it gets lost, though.
So you have those two. You have that factor. You can make an excellent video game, but your release date is completely trash, and therefore you kind of basically you cut the head off of your video game before it's even out. You decapitate it. There's no way to push it forward because everybody's playing this other video game. Or, which is the more often thing, you don't treat it with any respect. And therefore it is complete garbage at release. You know how many bad movie released video games there is out there? There is a bevy of just trash movie video games.
That's another list. That's another list and another conversation.
Another list and another conversation. We'll get to that someday. But that is just terrible. So it's the same thing when it comes down to Resident Evil. Now you finally have video games becoming movies, becoming TV shows, becoming things of that nature. if people treat it with the proper respect that it deserves, they will do good and be fine, and the fans will be happy. So I have faith up until now that Netflix, that knows what they're doing, because they've done Capcom, they're doing Dragon's Dogma, which is coming out. If I'm not mistaken, it's either this month or next month. I have full faith in them when it comes to recreating a Resident Evil storyline for their platform. Any thoughts?
I wouldn't say faith, but I mean, I hope.
You hope.
They haven't let me down so far. I mean, Netflix doesn't make too many bad shows, so
I would disagree.
I guess
I would disagree. I think they have a lot of bad shows.
A lot?
I think they have a lot of because again, they're always throwing stuff at the wall. They're always throwing shit at the wall. They be trying some stuff. I think it has a lot.
But that's admirable.
No,
Things.
of course, and they have the money and the budget and the fans to do so. And then, because I'm pretty sure that there's a couple of shows.
They have a lot of bad shows. They definitely have some things that is like, why? But
yeah,
I wouldn't say a lot.
Because the thing is, when a show gets canceled, like they just canceled Altered Carbon. They just canceled it.
Yeah, that never really did anything.
Yeah. So there's a couple of shows that they'll try, and then they'll be like, okay, so this didn't work. And then there's a couple of shows that I think surprised them. They'll be like, oh, we had no idea. Like they're coming out with 2 shows. They came out with one show called Ragnarok, which I told you about. That it's if you know anything about Norse mythology, it's a show based off of Norse mythology, and it has it's this modernized Norse battle between the giants and the gods and things of that nature, completely built like its own little cult following. A very small budgeted show.
Which is always a big win. When you can go small budget and still hit it out the park.
Yeah. So they did that, and that creates this little cult following, which I'm part of the little cult. And it's
Look at you.
It's good. It's good. And now they're coming out with a brand new I think it's Greek mythology show called Chaos. Spelled Kaos. And and I'm hyped for it. Because
you telling me they got into our backs when I shit with the K?
Oh yeah. They know about us. They gotta drop the bag. But I think that they're smart enough and they know and they study. And again, I think the people that work at Netflix are savvy enough to understand what exactly they're doing and what exactly they have to do to keep on raising their I wouldn't say their equity or raising their fan base or their subscriber base. I think they're smart, and I think they're gonna keep on doing great things in terms of just IPs. And the more video game IPs, the more shows that they get, and the more things that they're allowed to try would kind of entice other people like a Hulu, like an Amazon Prime, to try more stuff.
I agree.
Awesome. Well, excellent conversation, my brother.
Excellent episode.
Bit
of a rant in the beginning.
We don't apologize.
We're not going to apologize for that. You can skip over it if you want to, but what had to be said, had to be said.
Definitely. Thank you guys for watching. It's been excellent.
For
listening. And for those on YouTube, thank you guys for watching and listening. Again, this is just a conversation. You could go ahead if you have any thoughts on the topics, comment down below. Any suggestions, if you guys want us to talk about something, comment down below as well. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, links down in the description below. It's definitely there. Every single Wednesday and Saturdays, you guys.
This is for y'all.
We do this for y'all.
This shit's disgusting.
Just one last time.
I mean, in one episode, racism, boycotting, music, new music.
It was great.
The MCU. I mean, that's just one episode, and that's usually what it's gonna be like here. So, I mean,
it's gonna be awesome. I'm hyped for the future.
Before we sign off, though, just gonna throw a little bit of shade. I'm not gonna use any names, but I'm gonna throw a bit of shade. This goes out to anybody out there. You guys know who you are. Respect your creators. Respect them. Value them. Cherish them.
Because without them, you wouldn't have anything to begin with.
You wouldn't have anything. Get your shit together. If somebody provides you with very valuable information, something you can learn from,
they should be compensated.
They should be compensated. Wait. They should be respected as such. The value that some of these creators provide should be respected. And I'm going to leave it at that because I'm getting emotional again and I don't want to start another rant. Respect your creators. You signed somebody because you saw the potential and you saw the talent. Respect your creators. That's it for us today. Thank you for listening. Tune in again next Wednesday. Ace and Ivan, no decaf.